Am I the idiot for uninviting my mother to my wedding after she invited my fiance, female 29, and me, male 34, are getting married in 2 weeks after 13 years of friendship and 4 years of dating. She's fantastic and our relationship has been so good for the both of us. Planning the wedding has been uncomplicated and fun. We included my mother a lot. For example, my fiance took her dress shopping. The reason is that my fiance has always had a good relationship with my parents, and it grew much closer over the past year after her mother died. They kind of see her as another child, and I know that fiance appreciates that immensely. As for my fiance's father, she went to no contact when she was 15, even before he hadn't played an important role in her life. His behavior was one cause in her having depression and low self-esteem. It took her years to heal. She's happy with the way things are now. I never met the man, so neither of us considered inviting him to the wedding. My mother, however, won't understand why we won't invite him. Mom is a retired psychologist. She's had some experience with children-parent reunification and she thinks my fiance needs that, even more after fiance's mom's death. Fiance and me both have shut my mom down plenty of times. We both made it clear that this man was not to know anything about my finances or life, nor would be welcome anywhere near the wedding. For a while, my mom shut up. My mom doesn't know fiance's father. The other night we had dinner with my family. My mom had an announcement. Apparently she looked my fiance's father up and went to see him. Then she invited him to our wedding. She seemed so pleased. My family was appalled and angry. They all know what has happened. My fiance somehow remained calm and told mom how inappropriate that was. How mom hurt my fiance terribly by stepping over the one boundary she ever had. How fiance had lost all her trust in mom after this. I then uninvited my mom and we left. Fiance only broke down at home. My mother's also been inconsolable since and called me dozens of times, but I haven't picked up yet. Fiance feels unsafe to have the wedding if there was a chance that her father might show up. We might just cancel the whole thing. My father, who's not condoning any of my mother's actions, thinks I should talk to mom, hear her out. My siblings agree that uninviting her was too drastic. I just saw the distress my mother had caused my fiance and got angry all over again. So am I the idiot? A WTF for sticking to our decision. Edit. This is a throwaway account, obviously edit too. This really blew up, didn't it? Thank you all for your advice and perspective. It's truly heartbreaking how many of you have estranged relatives and can relate to this. I'm sorry. I met my dad earlier. He's really sorry for what my mom did and how he'd pushed me to listen to her at first. I told him that my fiance was the person hurt in this, that it was really up to her. Dad did offer to cover additional costs we might have now. Both siblings called individually to apologize to fiance as well. What to make of it just now? It's a good start, I think. Haven't talked to mom though. Also, my fiance's brother-in-law had a good idea regarding the wedding. We might do it earlier. That way we'd at least keep the venue. We're still figuring details out, but it might actually work. Edit 3. Thank you all so much for the comments and advice. There is a lot going on right now. We'll post an update when things settle. Fiance sends her thanks. Update. The biggest thing is, we are married. In the end, my wife's sister and brother-in-law saved the day. Originally, the wedding was on the 18th at Bill's restaurant. That was the date and place where we went from friends to dating 5 years ago. On the day of the opus, the wife went to see her sister. They suggested having the wedding a week earlier, on the 11th. It felt like the best option. Brother-in-law was willing to do the work, because wife is like a sister to him. His team and he got a generous tip from my dad. Wife, sister-in-law, brother-in-law, and I told all the guests to save my family from the date change. Wife didn't want to tell people why. Amazingly, everyone made it work except for 3 people. My family was told the morning of the wedding, just to make sure the wife's father would not have time to come to the wedding, as he lives 15 hours away from us. My family didn't complain because they knew that they messed up. It was all a bit stressful, but my wife felt like a spy on a mission and had fun with it. I was glad to see her get excited again. And there was no sign of her father at the wedding, so I guess mom finally listened. In the week before the wedding, we met my family to talk several times. These were long talks. Why did my mom do it? She just thought she knew better. No excuse other than arrogance. They all apologized. My wife said, one family torn apart by her father's actions was enough. She insisted that they were invited. So that was that. However, we made it clear that contact with her father would be punished much harder in the future, especially when it comes to children. It's forgiven but not forgotten, I guess. As to what my wife's father found out from my mom, apparently not much. He knew a bunch already, from my wife's eldest brother. Mom filled in the gaps. That brother is the only of my wife's siblings that was still in touch with their father. Brother and wife were on thin ice before that already for many but different reasons. Yes, we let that brother attend the wedding, mostly because we didn't want more drama. But we'll tackle that when the wife feels ready to do so. We did have a honeymoon to get to first. All in all, I think we are fine. Wife is still very hurt, more so by her brother's actions now. With my family, we'll work on it. The imminent threat is dealt with, now we start fixing the damage. Through it all, my wife was amazingly calm and reflected. It made me much more grateful that I got to be with her, not the idiot. It's disturbing that your mother was a psychologist. I can't imagine how much damage she's done to vulnerable people during her career. If I were your wife, I wouldn't trust her in the slightest ever again. She rang a bell she can't run, and once trust is broken, it's nearly impossible to repair it. I'm just appalled that your mother was actually a psychologist, not the idiot. Gonna vent for a second. I can't stand people who behave like your mother did. I work with people who don't seem like they were ever taught the meaning of no and only respect boundaries once they find out the consequences of overstepping them. The worst part for me is that these people are older. Some are even grandparents. That's not how things should be. I hate being the only adult around children twice my age. Christ, I need a new job. Anyway, I'm very glad your wife's dad didn't make an appearance, that the wedding went off without a hitch, that your wife was able to enjoy it, and that your family owned up to their poop. Congratulations on your wedding day. Was it wrong to uninvite her mother? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I the idiot for bailing on my brother's wedding last minute? I have been working as a wedding planner for about 6 years now. Last year, my brother, B, asked me to plan his wedding for him, and as his sister I was happy to do so for free. Everything was going pretty well until maybe a week and a half before the wedding, when B told me to remove our little brother, J, from the guest list. I tried asking him why, but the only answer he would give me is that Jay was being stubborn and selfish. Of course, I had to ask Jay about this. Apparently B showed up at his apartment and offered to let Jay attend the wedding as long as he doesn't act so gay. Jay of course took offense to that and told B to frick off, probably leading him to calling me and uninviting him. B has always been harsh to Jay. He's the type of manly man that despises anything feminine. So when Jay came out to us, B's bullying got worse and worse, leading to there being a pretty big rift between them. I've been trying to get the two of them to work out their differences, but B won't even try and hear out what Jay has to say to him. I decided that uninviting Jay to the wedding was the last straw and that I'm not going to keep helping B if he's going to continue to act like an idiot to our own little brother. So I sent B all the info for everything I planned at that point. The contacts for the venue, the catering, decorations, everything. Then I told him that if he's going to keep treating Jay like poop, then he should plan his own wedding because I'm not going to. B told everyone that I bailed on him last second, and that the wedding would have to be postponed because of me. As you'd expect, people were mad. Relatives were bombarding me about how important this would be for B, and how I'm ruining an important milestone in his and his girlfriend's life. When I tried to explain myself, I got people telling me that I shouldn't have done something so drastic over a petty squabble between brothers. Am I the idiot? Update. It's been about 5 days since B told our family I bailed on him, and a few new things have popped up. Mainly, B's fiancée has told everyone that it was her who decided to postpone the wedding, and it's not because they couldn't finish planning. She said that this current situation with Jay has brought up some past issues in their relationship, and that she needs more time to talk to B about it and reflect before fully committing to marrying him. One of the few times I've ever seen B express vulnerability is with his fiancée. I'm hoping that she can be the one to talk some sense back into him, and hopefully even talk through his hatred of Jay. I've seen some comments say that B coming to Jay's apartment to invite him shows that B really does care about him being there. I thought I should at least tell Jay that, even if it may be untrue. His response was appreciate the sentiment, but B has never given me any incentive to be a part of his life. If he really did care about me, then his invite wouldn't be attached to an insult but instead to an apology. Update 2. After B's fiancé's G announcement, the drama died down a bit. I was a little concerned because both her and B were completely silent for a good month. No texts, no calls, it was like they disappeared. During this time I took the advice of some commenters and apologized to my Jay for trying to force a better relationship between him and B, and for brushing off the bullying that B put him through. He said that he forgives me, but I still want to work on being a better sister. A few weeks ago I got a message from G asking if we could meet at a restaurant and if I could bring Jay with me. I asked why, especially after all the silence, and she told me that her and B wanted to talk. I informed you about this. I wanted to know what was going on, so I was gonna go. But I told him that he didn't have to go with me if he didn't want to. He told me that he thinks he'll be able to handle it, and if B still treats him the same, he'll just leave. Me and Jay went together. When we got there I could sense that B was feeling nervous. He looked like he was about to cry. B and G started the conversation by just catching up with each other on what's been happening since we last met. At some point though, B cracked, he took a deep breath and looked at G. B started a speech about how he grew up and my mind was racing trying to figure out where this was going, until suddenly I just heard the words I'm bisexual and everything cleared up. B went on to talk about how he felt he needed to hide this his whole life. He was envious towards Jay for being able to express himself so openly, which led him to start bullying Jay and pushing him deeper and deeper into the closet. It ended with him apologizing to Jay and asking for forgiveness. Jay was quiet for this whole talk until he felt it was his turn to speak. He said, B, I hear you, I know where you're coming from. I understand where you're coming from, but none of that excuses the poop you've put me through since we were teens. I can and will try to forgive you, but it's going to take a lot of effort on your end. The rest of the night was a bit of a blur for me. There was alcohol involved, but I do recall B and Jay cry hugging by the end, which I was very glad to see. Jay says that there's still a bit of awkwardness between the two of them, but with time he thinks he might just see B as his nice older brother again. As for the wedding, it's back on but with an undecided date as of right now, and yes, Jay is going to be allowed in this time. He can even bring his boyfriend along with him. B's even decided to have Jay be a groomsman and told him you can act as gay as you want, Jay, which I don't think is the best thing to say, but I like the sentiment. Not the idiot. It's funny. I like to read Am I the Idiot posts to my GF and we share our perspectives of the stories. When I read your original post I said, haha, clearly B is in the closet and jealous. Now here we are. Not the idiot. I'm glad B came to his senses and that Jay is willing, in time, to forgive B. B is very lucky that his fiancée clearly got him to open up. If I were Jay, I don't know if I would be so able to forgive after years of abuse and that abuse being ignored. Was she wrong to bail on her brother's wedding? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I the idiot for getting a makeover to mess with my brother-in-law? I, male 20, to put it bluntly, look like a girl. Definitely a flat-chested one, but still. I guess I'm just unlucky in the genetics department. Most people think I'm just a tomboy, but still, it gets a bit annoying when people think I'm a girl. I'm pretty comfortable with myself now, but I used to get bullied a lot for it and can be a bit sensitive about it. My sister's, female 26, husband, male 30, is always making jokes about it. I've told him to stop but he never does since it's all just jokes. I've gotten sick of it and wanted to get him back instead of being my usual timid self not saying anything. I went out of my way to get some friends and younger sister to give me a makeover a little before they were to come over. Basically make me look as girly as possible. They did a pretty good job and turns out if I'm all made up I look a lot like a younger version of my older sister. When they came over I made sure to act as girly as possible. He was visibly very uncomfortable so I was definitely winning this one. They left very early and I got a text from my sister calling me an idiot for making her husband uncomfortable. She told a few family members but most are on my side but a few think what I did was childish and in idiot territory. Am I the idiot at it? Got a text from my sister that I'm a giant piece of poop and ruining her marriage. I don't think I will be seeing them anytime soon but just in case I'm going to try and have a proper conversation with my parents about everything and see if we can not have them in the house for a while. Since I only pay rent to live with them I don't really get a say but I hope my parents can support me. Update, it's been a wild few days. I had a sit down with my parents and had a big talk about my feelings. They agreed that my sister's husband wouldn't be welcome in the house anymore. The only reason they didn't do or say anything about it is because they thought it didn't bother me and know I'm a tough cookie. They apologized for that and said they would speak out more in the future if anything like this happens again. My older sister had been texting me a lot calling me all sorts of names saying I'm ruining her marriage. She also visited yesterday and as soon as she came into the house she started screaming at me and things got heated. So my parents also banned her from coming over till she can apologize for her behavior and letting her husband continue to make me uncomfortable. On a more positive note, I've been exploring myself a lot these past couple days with my twin sister. She told me to not call her my younger sister, but we are a day apart so I'll always call her my younger sister lol. It's all in good fun. She helped me a lot with clothes and makeup, even experimenting with what pronouns I like. I think I may be trans but there's still a lot of exploring to do. I hope it's a worthwhile update for some of you. It's not too exciting or drama-filled but things are working out and it's at least an exciting time for me even with some of the negativity. I do have to say though, thank you so much brother-in-law. I wouldn't have explored my identity without you. Edit. Some people are taking the little sister's comment a little too seriously. My sister is fine with it. She read the post before being posted and we had a giggle about it. My relationship with my twin sister is a lot more different than my relationship with my brother-in-law. Not the idiot. I'm guessing brother-in-law always had a crush on Opus. But hey, that bigot might have helped Opus out in the long run, so there's the only positive to come out of this. Also, I'm not a twin, but I feel like calling his twin little sister is a very twin thing to do. Not the idiot. How could what you did possibly impact her marriage in any way? It makes no sense, especially since she's not sticking up for you. What the hell is going on between her and her husband that your appearance has anything whatsoever to do with the success of her marriage? Anyway, it appears that your brother-in-law was afraid all along you were trans and was making those jokes as a means to threaten you away from saying so. And now the joke is on him, since it seems that his passive aggressiveness actually resulted in exactly what he feared. Do you think the brother-in-law has a thing for Opus? Let me know in the comments. Now,